it's Jen, and I'm back with another episode of Collection Disconnection, where I'm using the Pink Paislee Horizon collection by Paige Evans. And today what I'm going to do, if you watched my very first video in this series, which there's a playlist for it if you want to check that out, but I got the paper pad that goes with this collection, and I ended up cutting up some of the papers to use as embellishments, and this was one of them. So I have all of the pieces cut up, and that's what I'm going to use on today's layout. Sometimes it's fun to start with sort of an idea like that in mind. So I'm going to play around with placing these florals everywhere, and this is the photo I'm going to be using, and I will put you on fast forward and talk you through the process.
Alright, so I printed my photo with a border, and I am just cutting it down here. I wanted it to be 3x4, but I also wanted it to have a border, so I printed it on a 4x6 vertically instead of horizontally, so I could have that border. And I am cutting off the branding strip of that blue paper. It's such a subtle pattern that it's easy to use for a background, and I rarely use pattern papers as backgrounds anymore, so I wanted to try that. I marked where my photo would go, so I didn't waste my time putting some of these floral pieces behind where the photo is going to go. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use all of these little fussy cut florals and just create a big cluster of them behind the photo. And I'm using that little sheet that you see at the bottom is sticky dots from Therm, and basically it's just a sheet of dot adhesive, and it's really easy to adhere die cuts this way. So halfway through putting the florals behind my photo, I decided that I wanted to do an entire half circle, and it's going to take up most of these florals that I cut. By the way, if you are not into fussy cutting like I am, you can definitely, if you have a scan and cut machine, you can do this with that, or if you have a Silhouette Cameo, you can use a Pix scan mat you take a photo of the paper and then upload it in your Silhouette software, and then it will know where to cut them out. I haven't used it, but I've seen Paige Evans use it. So anyway, you can check that out on her YouTube channel if you like. But I fussy cut mine while I was watching TV, and that's something that's therapeutic and relaxing for me. So yeah, just placing all of these florals. I'm just trying to get a good mixture of the pinks and the yellows and the blues, just kind of spread them around and then fill in that half circle. And I just kind of drew that half circle with my pencil, and now that I've got it mostly filled up, I'm just going in the areas that have a little space or that are going off the edge and adding in a few more of those little florals. And I love the way this turned out. I think it turned out really cool. It was a labor of love, but because I already had the pieces cut out, it really wasn't that bad. So I'm going to trim off the excess, and just using my scissors to do that, and then I will start embellishing this layout. So after you get that half circle done, there's really not, it wasn't too tricky to get the rest of the layout completed, although as per usual, I fuss over certain things that I don't need to. So I'm popping my photo up on some foam adhesive, and I just had this leftover that I had die cut from. I had die cut some letters from some foam, and so I'm just using the leftover bits there. And I'm going to put that photo of my cat. So this is Ariel, and she loves to sit on this ledge, this brick ledge right by the door. And whenever someone opens it, she jumps down and tries to get inside. And that's her favorite spot to sit. And when the sun is setting, it shines there, and she likes that sun too. So I'm just kind of playing around with how I can create my title. So I thought about doing favorite spot, using that favorite word sticker, and I wanted to use those letter stickers. And at first I was trying to use all one color, but none of the titles that I had in mind worked with using all one color. So I decided to change it to Hangout, and I'm going to switch the colors up, and I'm going to play around with them until I get something that I like. And I'm going to mostly overlap that on top of my photo so that you can see it a little bit more clearly. But it is going to be kind of subtle. So this is her favorite hangout. I thought that would be perfect to put here. And I'm trying to decide if I want to stack the words, if I want to put them around the half circle, or if I want to put them side by side. And I decide to stack them and have the word out be on top of my photo. So the word hang will go above it, and it does kind of blend in a little, but in real life you can see it better than you can see it in the video. I'm going to pop up the word favorite so that it can kind of overlap the word hang. And now I'm going to look at these other puffy stickers and chipboard pieces and kind of try to decide what to embellish with. So I sort of decided that I wanted to kind of do a diagonal design. You'll see it here in a minute, but I put the chipboard hello above the word favorite, or the title favorite hangout, and then I'm using the little chipboard banner there just to go from the edge of the photo to the edge of that half circle. And now I am going to put this little sticker that's a globe that says young and wild and free, which actually she's not that young anymore, so maybe I shouldn't have put young, but I put that there because it said wild and free, really. And then I'm using a couple of these little word strips, and I'm going to put a couple of the word strips at the top as well. And I like it's kind of a subtle diagonal design. It's not like a super going across the entire page, but mostly just staying in that area where all those florals are. I decided to add this floral piece, and I couldn't decide where at first, and I decided to put it underneath the word strips at the top, and then I decided to put another floral at the bottom, and both of those are stickers. I thought about adding this little banner piece that says the sweet life. I just couldn't make it work. But I'm looking through to see if any of the hearts might work, and I'm going to use a couple of the chipboard hearts. And now I'm looking at the puffy hearts, and I'm going to I replaced it with a puffy heart. I replaced one of them with a puffy heart, and I'm going to write my journaling with a Sharpie pen on that little journaling spot there. It is a little bit slick, so I do write my journaling with the Sharpie pen so it doesn't smudge. And I'm going to add some gold spray mist, but before I do that, I'm trying to figure out if I want to add something else here. So I did like that little floral cluster, and I'm going to pop up one side of it, and the other side will kind of tuck underneath that word favorite. Looking at this now, I can kind of see that my half circle is not even, but it's fine. So I splattered some gold around, and I'm also going to splatter some white. And I really I've been liking this distress spray stain in Picket Fence from Tim Holtz from Ranger, and I found that white works well for me. I thought about adding this little, I don't know if it's a cat or a dog, I don't really know what that shape is of that little clip, but I thought about adding that, and it just didn't quite work out. But I do add one of these little goodness, I want to call it a hanging stone, and that's not what it is at all. What is that? A charm. I'm going to add a charm underneath that floral cluster. So I'm just adding some white thread to it, and then I'm going to tie it. I'm tying two of them, tying knots on the ends, and then they'll both kind of hang from underneath the floral cluster. So I'm just using glue dots to stick them down where I want to, and then I will kind of shove that little string up underneath the sticker, and that ends up working out just fine. I added a glue dot to hold the string where I wanted it to be, and here again I'm thinking about adding a clip, so I added that little floral piece, and then I'm going to stamp my date. And I decided to stamp it on that hello chipboard piece. And at this point I thought, okay, it could be done, or do I want to add something to the right hand side since it's so empty? And I decided I did want to add something. So what I'm going to do is grab a piece of paper, a pattern paper that I had as a scrap sitting in my bin. I'm looking through those scraps, so sorry you couldn't see me. Oh, maybe I didn't grab a scrap. I grabbed a piece from the paper pad because it has two of each, and so I didn't feel too bad grabbing that out. That blue one is a scrap, but I'm thinking about layering two different pieces together to kind of create a little area on the right hand side that kind of matches the colors that are on the left. And so I end up just adding that bright colored piece and ripping a little area out of the side of the cardstock and adding that that pattern behind it, and the pattern perfectly matches the colors on the left. And then I just kind of ruffled up the edges of that pattern paper, and that is going to call this layout finished for me. So I thought about adding a floral to that or something to kind of incorporate it and tie it into the other side of the layout, but decided it was fine on its own. So here are some close-up photos. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I will have links in the video description to the products that I used, and I've been loving this Horizon collection from Paige Evans. Very fun, very bright and whimsical. So if you enjoyed, I hope that you will consider subscribing and clicking on that like button, and I hope that you'll join me again here very soon for another crafty video.